Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. We are here to do the SmackDown recap, which took place on Friday, June 13th, 2025, in Lexington, Kentucky. We have a ton of action, including 4 Fatal 4-Ways. I believe there was only 3 advertised for the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. So lots to talk about, so let's go ahead and get right into it. We kick off the show with John Cena, same way we did Monday Night Raw, making an appearance, continuing his farewell tour, this time repping the proud colors of the University of Kentucky. John says that if there was the Mount Rushmore of the greatest wrestlers of all times, it would simply be him 4 times. He says, nobody in the past, present, or future will ever be able to do what he's done. And John says that his entire farewell tour has been choreographed and everything has gone according to plan. After John gets his piece in, and what a piece it was, he's then joined by Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes pokes holes in Cena's plans by saying, well, if everything is going according to plan, what exactly was that happened at Money in the Bank when he was sitting on his back staring up the lights while getting pinned for the 1, 2, 3. Cody says that he's not part of John Cena's plans, but that actually Cena is part of his plans. But before Cody can get any further, Randy Orton joins in on the fun. Randy says that if anyone with a pulse could see that he had John Cena beat at Backlash until John had assistance. So he then goes on to say he will do whatever it takes to get that 15th title, including go through Cody Rhodes, who is like a brother to him. Then joins LA Knight. LA Knight runs down Randy, Cody, and Cena as Cena decides that he's heard enough and leaves the ring. As Cena is heading backstage, he's taken out by Ron Killings and then pulled off by officials. Yeah, this took a while, and this took a while and included a lot of people, but essentially, this continued the storyline with Cena and Ron Killings, R-Truth, and was kind of a segue into our first match of the night, which ended up being the first of 4 King and Queen of the Ring Fatal 4-Ways, this time featuring LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, Randy Orton, and Aleister Black. This is awesome chants through the crowd as this particular match is given plenty of time, but also plenty of commercial breaks, so felt like it was hard to get committed because every time he started getting into the match, it was interrupted by a commercial. But yeah, this was definitely given, outside of the main event, was given the most time. With a little more on that later. But yeah, every time it feels like everyone in this match is gaining some momentum. Another one of the competitors comes in, as we often see with these matches with 3 or more competitors. But the end of the match, when LA Knight gets taken out by Braun and Bronson, yet again, continuing that feud as they continue to interrupting each other's matches. Carmelo Hayes comes in, tries to clean up the mess, but gets an RKO out of nowhere from Randy Orton on top of LA Knight. This allows Randy to get the pin and the win, and he will move on in the King of the Ring tournament to face Sami Zayn in the semifinals of King of the Ring. Interesting to me was the fact that they're mixing the bracket around. So Sami from Raw will now face Randy from SmackDown instead of the winners of each brand facing each other. So it'll be interesting to look back on the tournament as a whole and see if there's any reason for that. But yeah, for me, I would have loved to have seen anyone else but Randy win here. But I just feel like the other 3 guys made more sense. But regardless, Randy and Sami should be fun. And I think Sami is going to be the one that moves on. But we shall wait and see. We then see Jacob Fatu in the ring. And he basically says that everything that he's done has been justified. And bloodline or not, he's going to do what it takes to stay on top. We then see Solo appear on the Jumbotron and says that he's the one that brought Jacob to WWE. Before that, he was nothing. And he tells Jacob he would be wise to remember that Solo brought Jacob into this world and he'd be more than happy to take them out. But Solo is a forgiving man and says he will be back next week in the middle of the ring and will welcome back Jacob with open arms as long as he hears those 4 words, "I love you, Solo." So an interesting bit there. I think the inevitable is we see Jacob and Solo feud for that U.S. title. Do we see it? A Clash of the Champions in 2 weeks, or do we push that one off until SummerSlam, or possibly both? We'll wait. We'll have to wait and see. We then see a backstage segment with the Secret Service, and the exception to that is we don't see Chelsea there, and Nick Aldis is back there. He gets handed a phone that's Chelsea Green on a video call, and she says she's unable to make her Queen of the Ring match, but no big deal. Just go ahead and postpone the match until she's able to make it. Aldis is always quick on his feet, though, and says, "No problem. Alba Fire will simply take your place instead." Zelina Vega then walks up to Aldis and sees Chelsea Green on the phone, simply puts her down on the table as she continues to rant, unheard of, essentially, as after the phone is put on the ring. Zelina Vega says that she demands a match against Julia. She demands retribution for being attacked last week, but unfortunately she's not at SmackDown tonight, so we'll have to wait until we get that one, maybe next week or even later. Who knows? But yeah, interestingly enough, I don't know if the Chelsea Green bit was scripted or not, or if that was actual travel issues that prevented it from being there. Regardless, planned or not, Chelsea Green making the best of it as she was drinking poolside, as we were told. But that was a great spot as well. We then get our next match of the night, which is the second Fatal 4-Way match. This is the second Queen of the Ring matchup that features Nia Jax, Michin, Jade Cargill, and Piper Niven. For a majority of this match, we see the team of Piper and Nia, which, if things ever stop working out with Green and the Secret Service, these two ladies could be quite the force in WWE. Took note of that for sure. But for this match, they work together until they don't, as we always see with these random heels and or faces working together. Piper takes out Nia as she is taken out by taken out as she is thrown through the barricade. Piper comes back in to get the win over Michin, but gets picked up by Jade Cargill for a Jaded and a 3 count as Jade advances to the next round of the Queen of the Ring. No surprise from me there. I think she was definitely the favorite going in there. But her going up against Roxanne Perez in the semifinals will be quite the matchup, and I'll have my eyes on that one. The bit with Wade Barry here getting knocked off his chair by Jade and reporting back as soon as he gets up and has his headset back on. That was great. He was out of breath and just continuing to do his job. What a team player. But Wade proving why he's one of the best commentators in the WWE. We then see Naomi, who makes her way to the ring with her newly won Money in the Bank briefcase. Naomi says that the WWE Universe looks surprised, and she's not quite sure why. She told everyone that she was done accepting scraps, so her winning this Money in the Bank briefcase shouldn't have been just that, a surprise. She says that back when she was trying to beat Nia for the title, it was Tiffany that clocked her over the head with that Money in the Bank briefcase, so that makes this situation all the sweeter. And say her name and she appears. Tiffany Stratton then joins the ring. Tiffany says that Naomi is all talk and no action, and that's the reason why she couldn't beat Nia. Naomi doesn't fall for the tricks and warns Tiffy to proceed with caution as Tiffany is trying to convince Naomi to go ahead and use that briefcase now. Naomi not falling for it, and this unhinged version of Naomi it's not close. It's the best work of her career, and I'm glad she got the briefcase. And I think she needs to hold it for a long time. We need to see what she can do with it because, like I said, best work of her career, and just there's an unlimited amount of angles she can take from here. And if Jade, for instance, were to win Queen of the Ring, then the dynamic here gets really interesting. But yeah, can't wait to see this story unfold. I think after the segment here, Nia Jax then comes in from the other side to take out Tiffy as Naomi backs away. She then hits Tiffany with an annihilator, and Naomi threatens to come back in the ring to potentially cash in that briefcase on Tiffany, but really there was no threat there. Nia kind of backs her off as Naomi retreats. But yeah, pretty interesting segment. I think Naomi will be a force. I think she'll hold on to that briefcase a lot longer than Seth will, and it'll be an interesting angle to keep an eye out on. We then see a video from earlier today with all the SmackDown teams, the SmackDown tag teams, and as selfless as they all are, they begin volunteering each other for a tribute to face off against the Wyatt Six as they're having their debut match here tonight. Then we get the actual match as Nick Aldis agrees that MCMG are the veterans of the tag division and would be best suited to take on Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy of the Wyatt Six. As for the match, this is a little more back and forth than I thought it would be, but regardless, towards the end of the match, Dexter looks over to Uncle Howdy, who almost to get permission to end the match, he gets the nod and then hits the leg drop from the top ropes to get the win. The commentary kind of notes that this is the first team of the division they have taken down. So that kind of puts the thought that we've kind of hit on and talked about before was I hope that the Wyatt Six aren't just going to burn through the tag division now. I feel like that would be we've hit on the fact that we don't know exactly what Wyatt Six are here to do, but it does seem that they're here for the tag titles, and that's going to be their end goal. But I'm just hoping that they don't take out all this division that we've built for the last 6 months, it seems, into this incredible tag division. I hope that we're not going to throw that all away. I think there's a better angle they could go about doing it. Not to say one loss for each team doesn't hurt them, but and as I kind of alluded to earlier, this match was far from a squash match, which I kind of thought it would be. So maybe that's not the case, and maybe I'm just overreacting. But we'll wait and see who Wyatt Six gets next and how their story progresses. We then get John Cena, who's back in the ring, and he's asking, or no, I'm sorry, this is before John Cena was back in the ring. He was backstage asking Jimmy Uso if he's seen R-Truth and clarifies, or Ron Killings. Jimmy says he hasn't, and that John says, well, I know you all are friends, so do me a favor, tell him I'm headed to the ring, and he can meet me there. So then we get John Cena down to the ring. He invites Truth out to fight. Instead, we get CM Punk. The CM Punk comes out and says, you're tired of being disrespected, huh? Well, the WWE Universe is tired of being disrespected by you. Punk then says, we haven't even begun to reach the levels of disrespect that we're going to get to. Punk says that to let the fans give you the respect you deserve on your way out, do the right thing. And Cena says, why would he do that? They don't matter. He being Cena is the only thing that does matter. Punk then responds with, okay, well, we'll do it your way. Let the disrespect begin. And if you want some truth, here it is. John has never been able to beat me on his best days, and their roles and historically how they have been are now reversed. And that Punk will travel wherever he needs to take that title. So as Punk is leaving the ring, Cena is yet again taken out by Ron Killings as Punk tells him, sorry, the truth hurts, as officials once again pull Ron off of Cena. This is it was different, to include different people. We have the Punk Cena thing here, whereas earlier we had Cena, Orton, LA Knight, and Cody Rhodes. So it makes this one obviously seemed more important, but the fact that we had two, Ron Killings taking out Cena twice, this promo felt like it was more important than the one at the beginning. Maybe we didn't need Cena at the beginning, because regardless, these two promos combined took up quite a bit of time, and I'd argue could have been better served for the Fatal 4-Ways, which we had 4 of. Granted, a 3-hour show, but I don't feel like all the Fatal 4-Ways got the time they could have. But speaking of Fatal 4-Ways, getting into the next match, we get the second Queen of the Ring match of the night. This one features Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Candice LeRae, and Alba Fire. Similar to the first Queen of the Ring match, we see the heels work together. I'd argue maybe even a little better than when we saw Piper and Nia Jax do it earlier. The match was decent enough and a bit of an interesting ending where Charlotte locks in the figure 8 on Alba Fire while Bliss hits his sister Abigail on Candice and gets the pin. All the while, Alba is still in the figure 8. And before Alba can tap out, Alexa does get that pin. Although they did show, and whether it was intentional or not, Alba does end up tapping, but it is too late. Alexa has already gotten the win and has advanced in the Queen of the Ring tournament. The commentary team mentioned this as well, and I had kind of figured Charlotte was going to win, although it did seem a little obvious, a little too obvious to have Charlotte win the Queen of the Ring tournament as the queen, as she is self-proclaimed. But they did mention that Charlotte hasn't won anything since she's been back, which is surprising. But I think this is a good call on WWE's part. The last thing anyone ever wants to see is when she comes back and wins everything and wins the title as soon as she comes back. I believe Royal Rumble Elimination Chamber and now, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, and now Queen of the Ring. She kind of failed to go anywhere in those particular matches and or events. So I think this is the right call on WWE's behalf. That way, eventually, when she does start winning again, it won't be as poorly received. But yeah, Alexa Bliss getting the win here, and I think a surprising outcome for me at least. But she'll get the winner of the Raw Queen of the Ring tournament matchup on Monday. We then get into our main event, which is the last and fourth King and Queen of the Ring match. This one being King of the Ring match, featuring Andrade, Shinsuke Nakamura, Damian Priest, and Cody Rhodes. And then, to me, this was by far the best Fatal 4-Way of the night. And from start to finish, this one started off hot and ended the same way. And there wasn't really any breaks in the action in between. Each of the 4 men getting their time to shine. This includes Cody getting kicked through the table from Shinsuke Nakamura. But in the end, the American Nightmare is the one who books his ticket to the semifinals to face the winner of the last first-round Fatal 4-Way on Monday night as well. So yeah, I think most of the world probably would have picked Cody to win. I thought maybe, Cena would get involved, being that how it kicked off the beginning of the night. I don't think Cena would want to pick that many enemies, but I thought maybe they would go that route and have Damian possibly win. But I think Cody is the right choice. I don't want him to win it, and I don't think he will. I don't think he should. But we'll wait and see. Yeah, we'll wait and see over the next week or so who Cody will get in the next round. But yeah, overall, SmackDown, I give this episode a 7 out of 10. For me, unfortunately, I think this was the weakest show of the week. But that's not as bad as it sounds. Raw and NXT both were given very good ratings this week, and it was a very eventful week in wrestling. But this episode wasn't bad by any means. It just feels like, coming off sounding like a broken record for sure. It feels like with a 3-hour show, we should have a little more to show for it. Granted that, we got 4 Fatal 4-Way matches, which is great. But I would have much rather had those matches, especially the first 3, and especially the 2 women's, get more time instead of giving Cena what felt like an hour. I don't know. I don't have the exact time, but it felt like we saw him a lot tonight. It felt like he had a third of the show And for me, you all know I'm not the biggest fan of him in the first place. But I think it could have been done in a much smaller amount of time. I'd argue he wasn't even needed in that first promo, and he could have just had shown him being attacked backstage by Ron Killings, and then I think it would have been just as effective, even if he was just talking to someone else and getting ambushed, whatever. I just think there was a better use of time to kick off the show and kind of give those to the King and Queen of the Ring tournament matches. But alas, outside of the last Fatal 4-Way, I also noted it seemed like the crowd wasn't super interested in a lot of the matches we got tonight. So for whatever reason, I think that took it a bit down for me as well. But we got Orton and Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes advancing on the men's side, which I think most people probably wouldn't have been too surprised. But then we did get Alexa Bliss, which for me was surprising. So a bit of a mixed bag here, but definitely more pros than cons. And pretty decent episode. And we'll see who the last two competitors advancing the semifinals in the King and the Queen of the Ring on Monday. And Monday is when I will see you all again. We'll be back for the Raw recap. So with that, this has been another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. And until next time, we'll see you then. Take care.